right, guys, he's back. TPA is back. That's his handle on Twitter. So he's also back here with us. I'm so excited. We're going to start having TPA back every Wednesday evening. So you guys plan on joining us for a little woo-woo on Wednesday nights. And we hope to see you here. We'll be right back right after this. So give us a like, share the video, and let's find out what's happening in the world of woo. I also have an announcement about Very DAO. What's up, public? You're back.
Guess who's back? Back again. TPA is back again.
Not sing. You know that is not allowed on my channel.
It's a special thing.
It's true. It's the conspiracy has been proven as a theorem, not a theory. Dr. McDaniel was just educating me earlier on the difference between a theory and a theorem.
Mm-hmm.
So now it is proven. It is a theorem. Public Awakening has returned. You guys see his handle at TPA is back. So go follow him on Twitter.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
Description. It's a good day.
So this is my, I don't know, 4th or 5th attempt at coming back in the last 2 years, and I
thought it was 3. Okay.
It's almost 3. It'll be 3 in January.
Okay.
It wasn't able to be successful so far. Change of owners, new things happening. A bunch of people were fired, and here I am.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see what happens.
We'll
see if I'm here in a week. Who knows?
I am a little disappointed in some of the stuff Elon's doing, to be honest. One of the things he wants to do is do this council. I'm like, that's still publishing. So that's not freedom of speech. If you are publishing, which I guess there's limits, or there is a sense of being responsible. Like when it brings harm to another person, I think it would be good to have something in place.
Sure.
Make sure there's nothing harmful to children or another person.
But there's still a lot of that on Twitter.
Oh, see, I wasn't aware.
Oh yeah. See, there's all these really sneaky things where they give them hashtags that have nothing to do with the little people, or just random words that nobody would know that this is what it means. So there's still some really creepy stuff on all social media, and a lot of times what they'll do is you'll see
like when there was that Wayfair scandal and they were selling pillows for $10,000 or whatever.
Similar to that. One of the main things that they'll do is they'll find videos of, let's say, the one that sticks in my head the most is gymnastics, little females doing gymnastics, and they'll put a hashtag on it, and then they'll put a timestamp on there, and then you go look. You scroll through and you go to that timestamp, and this is for people who like people doing handstands, people doing splits. And there's a whole humongous following of things like that. So if you're a creepy person and you like hashtag, it's just random.
Well, why can they not put a bot in place to shut that down?
I'm sure they can. Sure they can. But, I have no background in that stuff. I don't understand fully how any of that behind the scenes stuff would work.
Yeah.
But I would have to say it would have to be a pretty active bot, because all they would have to do is switch the hashtags. Instead of, spicy chicken nuggets, it could be, a prickly cactus or whatever, hashtag prickly cactus, something that nobody would ever search for, right? Just who's going to look at that? But they know what it is. Yeah. And then they know, prickly cactus at 3 minutes and 28 seconds. And
remember when I was seeing all that weird stuff with the cutie oranges?
Yes.
And they were talking about meeting places in the grocery store, and it was some
yeah.
weird, like the conversation, kind of like the recent horse medication that you saw. Then you look at the comments and it's like, that doesn't, I don't think that's what they're talking about.
165-pound horse.
Yeah.
All
Very
right.
strange.
And they love the flavor. Okay. All right. Right.
Yeah. It's very strange. Very strange.
That was a straight up win for humans, though. That was humanity at its finest right there.
Well, so then that's some of that think mirror stuff, I guess.
Yeah. That, that was, but yeah, there's still plenty of creepy stuff going on there. Plenty of outright nudity and, pornography and all this kind of stuff.
Speaking of which,
there's a lot of that.
I was thinking of the hammer situation lately.
Hammer time.
Santa was going to bring a hammer. Remember?
I don't remember that one.
What do you mean you don't remember that?
I've been off Twitter for a few years.
No, it's not a twatter. It's a Pepe 17.
I don't remember.
You don't remember when we were doing all the Christmas decodes and they would like show the picture in the White House? There was a picture. Trump had a picture of Santa literally holding a hammer.
I don't remember that.
Christmas, one of the decoration things that we did, one of the breakdowns.
But I totally believe it because there's other things happening behind the scenes than a lot of us realize.
Yeah.
We know 20% at best. 80% is completely done on the down low.
I'm going to have Jim Willie on for my Patreon tomorrow morning.
Cool.
He and I have been texting. He has his latest Golden Jackass report out. And some really interesting stuff out there. He's like, no, I don't know a lot about crypto. And I was like, I don't want to ask you about crypto. I want you to tell me about banking and the military, especially with what's happening in Brazil. Could we see something like that here? Those kind of things. I'm very curious what his knowledge base is on those kind of things. So
I think there are certain situations where if the military was rolling down the street, I think a lot of people would be really happy. I think a lot of that narrative has been corrupted and co-opted. I truly don't believe that so much of the military has gone rainbow and woke like it's presented. Remember where it's presented. It's presented on mainstream. And what can we believe on mainstream? What do I believe on mainstream? Zero. It's the opposite. Whatever mainstream, my personal opinions, whatever mainstream is telling you, the opposite's going on. So if mainstream is our only source to tell us all these things about all these generals who went all woke and, wear lipstick and purple hair and all this kind of stuff, I don't know. I was disheartened by it quite a bit in the beginning. And then I said to myself, I don't know how much of that we can believe. I don't think our military, as compartmentalized as it is, can truly be taken over like that. I don't believe it. So, one of the last things I saw before I jumped on with you was a video on Twitter, that had the military in Brazil rolling down the street, and the crowds were just going crazy. Everyone was throwing them candy and shaking their hands, and it was like a really
That's
really
another quote though.
thing.
The military is the only way.
Yes.
So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to watch what happens and how the people respond to it.
Agreed.
So we're seeing like a whole, I don't know, lesson in humanity and education of the public. I think there has been so many cases that have gone to the Supreme Court all around the Constitution that have been trying to educate people. And not everyone has learned the lesson. Not everybody listened to what the ruling actually was or got the lesson. But it didn't have to wake up everybody. It didn't have to teach everyone.
Right.
But the ones that were listening and wanted to see the truth could see it, and could choose the truth. So I think
What
that,
was it? Yeah, no, that's very important. Sure. I think it was Uncle Cliff a while back that says, what was it? We need 20%, right? 20% um, uh, of the non-believers would be acceptable. 80%, we have to get to about 80% of the people who see through the veil, who see through the BS, and at least if they don't fully understand, which I don't think any of us fully understand it, even as much as a lot of us
no,
think we're really, aware of what's going on and have an idea in our heads of how things are working. I really don't think we have much of a clue at all, but at
no.
least we're putting our energy in the right direction. So I
Mhm.
think once we got to 80% of people understanding, getting 20% left that are just permanently lost. I think maybe Mr. 107 said that also. I think that's the marker where things really start to have the ability to change. And a while back when we saw Sleepy's poll numbers were, well, what, 18, 17%, 19%
Yeah,
approval. I think that was maybe
things are
possibly one
really
of the
close.
markers of where things can really start uh, making some change for the better.
Mhm. Yeah, really close. Dr. McDaniel was on earlier today, and he, has this such a long history of being involved in some really significant things in our country with the work that he did, and still continues to do, and the fight that he's in. And he was telling me about um, old Evil Tony and his work in HIV back in the day, and that actually that aloe study and the money involved and all that stuff, that Evil Tony's the one that shut that down and said that they could not, he had something passed where only large research facilities were allowed to do, like, to have studies accepted, because then they would have the drug reps to push out the drugs to all the doctors and all this stuff. So basically, and then they're the ones that like got the AZT drug approved, which was then destroying um, HIV
AIDS,
patients'
right?
livers and killing them, basically.
Right.
But the thing that was actually helping them, he was part of trying to shut down as well. So there's a long history there. And I told him, I said, I think we're going to see some truth come out of this, when they start begging for amnesty before it's really even out yet, they know they're in trouble,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
There's so much information coming out on all of that. It's because people's voices aren't being suppressed as much as they were at this point. You're seeing a lot of doctors coming out, a lot of organizations, a lot of medical groups coming out and saying, "Hey, we told you, we tried to tell you
mhm.
guys, and you got to be careful with this stuff."
Yeah.
There's more and more coming on these nowadays, and being on the Twitter for the last couple of days now, I've seen so much things on there that I couldn't imagine a year or two ago I would have ever imagined would have been on there and stayed on there without that person getting, banned or removed or having the content removed. And, it's nice. People are allowed to say what they want now, and judge for yourself. That's what life is. It's
Mhm.
in regular everyday life, you go outside, you talk to people. One neighbor could be full of hot air all the time. One neighbor could be really cool. You could go meet a guy at the store who's just talking some crazy stuff, and you can meet a lady at the store who's just really right on
Yeah.
and really drives with you. It's make up your mind. That's what life is. Life is a melting pot of all your different experiences, and you choose which ones work for you, and you go in that direction.
Yeah, that's where, like, I was in my doctor's office today, and um, talking to her about all this stuff. And, you would think she would not be in agreement with a lot of my beliefs. And instead, she's like right on board. And she's like, I went into this to help people. And then I'm seeing what's happening, and what they were forcing me or wanting me to do with my practice and going against what I believed. And it was just, the whole thing was
Sure.
really wild to have this conversation with her. And my cholesterol's down
Yay.
thanks to New Eden. So
Awesome. Fantastic.
I'm normal.
All right.
Yeah. So I
Well,
have
that's still
some very,
subjective. It's still
well,
subjective.
yeah. Well, I'm working on my conspiracy theorem, not
Nice.
theory anymore. So I have some very good news I want to share. I think your friend was trying to click on, but his camera didn't work. So I don't know if he's texting you or needs a little help. And then he jumped off. So maybe he's going to try to log back on. But with the help of the community, because the community funded this, let justice be done. Very Dow is pleased to announce that we have filed a request to submit an amicus curiae brief in the SEC Ripple case. We aim to tell the true story of how very token holders have been treated by the SEC and why it matters to the crypto community. We stand with XRP token holders. Very Dow. So this is where this is like a significant different brief than all the others. All the others are projects or CEOs or whatever.
Right.
But ours is different because it's filed from a token holder point of view, which is who the SEC is supposed to be protecting as the individual.
Right. Right. But that's not ever actually what happened.
But that's actually who got harmed, allegedly.
Well,
so exciting news.
That is exciting news. Very, very cool.
Very cool.
Hold on a second. Yeah.
So
jump on with link. Hold on. Just tell him to jump on.
Yeah.
You're gonna like him. His name is Robert, and super smart guy. Really, really cool. Really cool guy. I think set the company record for most sales in the year. Hey, baby. And this smart guy got a quite a substantial crypto background.
So we're going to be talking about that when he comes on. This is really exciting too.
Tantrum time.
You want me to mute you?
No. Sorry.
You're like, no, it's fine.
No, it's fine. Everybody can hear what a 2-year-old sounds like.
This is real life. Okay, so a huge tunnel has opened below Niagara Falls. This is so cool, and this is some Tesla stuff. Whoops. It, of course, jumps over to the other page. Let me see if it'll let me share the other page. Present your screen. Oh, mercy. Okay. There it is. CNN Travel, Unlocking the World, 222. So it says a whitewater wonder visited by everyone from Marilyn Monroe to Mark Twain. Rocks beneath the gigantic triple waterfall that straddles the border between the U.S. state of New York and Canada's province of Ontario are honeycombed with chambers carved out to harness the powerful forces of thundering nature overhead. And now a 670-meter tunnel built more than a century ago on the Canadian side has been opened up to reveal some of the awesome scale of these engineering marvels. Since July 2022, it's been part of the tours of the decommissioned Niagara Parks Power Station tour, which began a year earlier. Exploring it offers a fascinating glimpse into the pioneering work that helped bring this corner of North America into the modern age. The power station, which opened from 1905, or operated from 1905 till 2006, diverted water from the mighty Niagara River to run giant generators that electrified regional industry and contributed to the nearby Great Lakes, Port of Buffalo becoming known as the City of Light. So then they go on, blah, blah, blah. Power station, which operated diverted water. Run generators. Okay. Region around the waterfall, according to the station guide, was once a hub of activity for businessmen who wanted to cash in on harnessing hydropower. But remember, all the hydro stuff got shut down. So the Adams Hydroelectric Power Plant was the first to open, operating on the U.S. side from 1895 to 1861. On the Canadian side, from 1905 to 1999, on the Toronto Power Generation Station from 1906 to 1974. The world's, oh, wait. And now, related content, Denmark and Germany now building the world's longest immersed tunnel. Wonder what that's about.
Not sure.
They're all doing hydroelectric power.
See, now it's probably
energy.
one of those things where like the timber industry came out and squashed hemp because one of the big players in the game owned these big, timber forests and had his foot in there. So that's probably why. I don't really know, but my guess would be that's why hydro went out, was because somebody owned large coal mines somewhere, or of course
so it gets a little
oil.
suspicious. Here it says today the Niagara Park Station is the world's only fully intact hydroelectric plant of its era. Originally operated by the Canadian Niagara Power Plant Company, it used Westinghouse generators to create alternating currents patented by Tesla. Cutting edge technology at the time. The plant was built in the time when aesthetics ruled. The rustic lime exterior and blue roof tiles were, as she says, an attempt by New York architect to make the structure blend in with the falls. It goes on, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, that is gorgeous. Look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool.
I love that. That era of architecture is probably my favorite of all time by far.
The 20s and
Yep.
Okay. Beside every generator is a governor, which regulated the water flow into a turbine. An air brake in the governor helped to adjust the flow. They needed 250 RPM exactly to give them 25 hertz. Huge tunnel, also related content. Huge tunnel network creates new railway link through the Alps. Like, it just doesn't stop. So, glass elevator, blah, blah.
So they'll start pushing water through things, turning some turbines, generating some power. Maybe this had to happen.
It's amazing what they did with no electricity.
Yeah. Which is impossible.
Oh, and look, the tunnel held 71,000 gallons of water.
What is that backwards?
17. Oh, look, related content. China's longest underwater highway tunnel opens. So Germany, China, Denmark. Where else did they say? The Alps. So Switzerland. Everybody gets a tunnel. You get a tunnel. You get a tunnel. You get a tunnel.
You get a tunnel. Very interesting.
Yeah. So they're talking about power plants, history, blah, blah, blah. Checking it out. I don't know. I thought this was really interesting.
It is very interesting. I mean, there's always more to it because we can't believe so much of what we read, but there are some truths in there, usually mocked, and the more valuable and valid they are, they're mocked and everything. But I've been watching a lot of videos and documentaries on the old World's Fairs and just the feats that they were able to accomplish back then. We still couldn't really accomplish them now, especially in the time frames that they did them in, which at the time was the world's largest building, was assembled in something like 3 months or something like that. We could never see that here. And then why were they torn down immediately? Which is crazy. They spend all the years building these fairgrounds and then tear it down immediately. Why?
I was watching a video, and I think it was in Holland. I can't remember where it was, somewhere in Netherlands. And they built a tunnel and a highway system like overnight or in 48 hours or something like this. So it's not that it's not possible. It's that it's not done.
It's not done. Sure. If you're not making money and the people in charge aren't, using their corporations and their resources to do it, it's not going to happen. But maybe things are changing right now.
Yeah, I think they are. It's pretty exciting. Today is 11/2/22. So it's 2/2/2/22, right?
2/2/2/2. Yeah.
Yeah. All the twos.
All the twos. Hopefully that can mean something good. I think we're going to have some change soon,
Yeah.
I think we're going to see some fireworks. I think I'm hoping one of the reasons why everyone isn't getting all jazzed up about the midterms is that we can watch it be done all shifty like again, and I don't want that to be the gut punch that we're
Mhm.
looking for. I had some ideas of what this
Yeah,
gut
Uncle
punch we're
Cliff's been
looking for
talking
in the
about the
near.
big ugly.
Yeah, I hope, I hope we're not going to have to see the same thing happen again for enough people to get all, all aware of what's going on. But I'm not going to put it out of the
Yeah, because people got upset,
possibilities.
but then they waited for someone else to fix it.
Right. Right. Ooh, good point. Yeah. We don't.
So I don't know if it has to keep happening until they realize they have to fix it or choose something else. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect a different outcome.
Yeah, that's true.
So how many times do you do the same thing and expect a different outcome?
Well, what's the sign of insanity? What do they say? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again,
I
expecting
just
different
said that
results. Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Well, I'm reiterating with you. I was
Okay.
trying to text Rob and see what's happening. Hey, I have special needs. Don't make fun of me.
Oh, if you weren't my little brother.
And I'm going to use it for all I can.
Yeah. Crazy. So you had a good Thanksgiving or a good Halloween. I got to talk to a little bit before she had her temper tantrum.
Yeah, it was nice. We went out for a little while, did a
Yeah.
few rounds until I got about 3 blocks in before I had to start carrying her. And, it was the end of the
That's not
day.
terrible. That's not terrible. So
It could have been worse, but it was the end of the day and Daddy got a little tired. So we did, I don't know, maybe 5 blocks altogether. Of course, I pushed the stroller in one arm and carried her in the other arm. And that got tiring for a minute,
that's
but
a
she had a
lot.
blast. So she's like I said, she's 2. She had this is the first real Halloween where she, remembered of,
Yeah. Gets
and
what's going on and all that.
yeah, the neighborhoods around here, they go really over the top with it. 2 streets away, we have one of the houses where it's the top one of the top 5 displays in all of New Jersey, and there's a few streets down a little further that are just every single house puts out this massive display. People play music and have a little party out front at the same time. It's really fun. It's sense of community is coming back, which is really nice.
Yes, I agree. So the Day of the Dead is today, or the first day of the Day of the Dead. I found out it's a 3-day holiday or 3-day experience. And then Posio Beck put this out. Don't believe the occultist lies. Halloween was actually a Christian holiday from the start. And so I was reading the history on this, and they did a Sunday special on human events. And Dr. Taylor Marshall gets on and explains that they know of it's an early Christmas tradition. They know of a holy day of All Hallows or All Saints, celebrating all the martyrs. Originally, it was more of a spring harvest. It was after the festival of the Pentecost, which is a Jewish feast, as we Catholics receive and continue to celebrate this year. And it's really to remember all the saints. So then he asks about common suggestions that Halloween has its roots in Celtic pagan something, blah, blah, blah. And he says, no, go back to the 4th and 5th century writings of St. Ephrem and St. John Chrysostom, something like that, who recorded the early celebration of All Hallows or All Saints and considered it a holy day. And then he talks about how it's actually a Christian holiday. And he says Halloween, which is short for Hallows Evening or the evening before Hallows Day, which is November 1st, was a day to recognize and celebrate all the saints who had been martyred. So Dr. Marshall then talks about the meaning of the word hallowed by noting the Lord's Prayer. Well, if you say the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. It's right there. Hallowed means holy. So Dr. Marshall said that saints are synonyms as holy. English root, hollow, and the Latin origin of saint are interchangeable. The origins of Halloween date back to the celebrations of holy people who were martyred in the days of the Roman Empire, as martyrdom was extremely common. The 300s and 400s goes back to that's how did Halloween, that was originally associated with uniquely Christian celebrations, come to be recognized as pagan traditions? And then he said, everything that is holy and sacred to God, the devil wants to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Cultists serve as agents of the devil, working to capture and debase these holy days. So then he goes on. He then noted how Christmas, a celebration as a birth of Jesus, became overwrought with materialism and indulgence. That's just the devil attacking a holy day. Same thing with Easter. Easter's the resurrection of Jesus. The devil wants to thwart that. Later, the two men talked about Easter had been twisted through Easter eggs, which we've talked about that.
Yes.
Something associated with paganism.
And candy gifts, of course. The gifts from candy go back to this mountain where they were.
And Big Mike gives Junior candy.
Yeah.
Every time she sees him.
Right.
Or does he give her candy?
He gives her candy.
He gives her candy.
He gives her candy because that was what they did way back in the day. They went up to the top of the mountain and they gave their god. They gave gifts to their god of candy and sweets, and that was to appease them and keep that god happy.
I thought this was really good, though. He said, reclaiming the holy days, reclaiming of all of our holy days, the practices of early church, praying for the martyrs. It started with the martyrs and extended to the saints, and the hallowed, praying for the hallowed. And so, like, when we think about, and this is so on a much less level, but if you look at the Twitter people being reinstated, the truth coming out about some of these conspiracy theories, some people being kind of vindicated, it's like it is being taken back.
There's things happening at this point. One thing I've learned is not to get too excited about anything too early on, but there are definitely some changes. TPA is back, and that's a fact. It rhymes. But yes, there are changes happening.
There are changes happening. There are things happening.
We saw Sleepyhead get fact-checked the other day. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Hillary got fact-checked.
I wasn't aware of that one. That's awesome.
Yeah. Elon said, I think there's more to this story.
Oh, yeah.
And
then the crowd.
And then Il Donaldo Trumpo posted a picture of Sleepy's hands dripping and showing all the punctures and stuff.
Oh, that's cute.
That happened yesterday or today. I can't remember.
Did you see the Halloween costume? I'm assuming it was a spoof or a joke that was going around. It was basically two hands that go like here and here, and then a mask of Sleepy that just sits there on the side, and you walk around like that.
And he's sniffing.
That's hysterical. That is freaking funny. I would just wear that on a regular day. Just walk around like that on a regular day. Like,
on a regular
day.
No,
this, and just have like the smell, just
and
just
then
playing.
When somebody's like looking at you, you go like this. All of a sudden, you're surprised to see it.
So what was that with the hands dripping? Right, there was some pictures of.
Remember the little boy brought him a vial of something on a tarmac one time in front of everybody.
Oh yeah, what was that?
That was very obvious.
There was something there. There was and he shoved it in his pocket. I remember that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But wasn't there pictures of Hillary's former head aide, one of the two brothers who has all the creepy artwork in his house? Wasn't there something? him, and he showed his hands, and he had all the deep cut marks on all his fingers here. That's one of their things. And then that witch, that artist witch, Brahma, Brahmaho, whatever her name is, and she had it written in blood. Yeah, it said something like cut your finger deep and eat the pain or something. And yeah, there's all this
crazy.
It is. It is
stuff.
But who knows?
Do you think Tony's gonna make it? Not Tony. Is it Tony?
Yeah, there's two. Yeah, Tony and whatever the other one is. I mean, I don't think they're around. I don't think they've been around. I mean, I'll go back to what I always say. Just because we see it on television doesn't mean it's real. If we can't trust them to tell us the truth about the good stuff, we certainly can't trust them to tell us the truth about the bad stuff. Can't. I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans and trickery that you can do these days, with masks or CGI or the real time, cloning videos where they move and they speak exactly like the person would. And I don't know. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that.
No,
a lot of these people are still out running around like nothing happened. I'm just not going to buy it. Again, my own crazy opinions. This is Woo Woo Wednesday. This is where we talk about the crazy conspiracy fact or theories that people have out there, and we discuss them and try to make some sense of them. Wait, I hear that train coming through.
Trump train.
I think it could be. I think it could be. I'm just saying.
Oh, dang. I
know. So how did you do on Halloween? Did you guys have fun?
Yeah, I always make chili and invite friends over, and
I saw your spread in the kitchen. It looked gorgeous.
Thank you. I made cookies and all the things I don't eat, but I like to make. I love chili, and chili's like lean and good for you and all that. But man, cookies, like I just can't do the sugar anymore. Like I had a couple too many cookies the other night, and I had a food coma and on the couch by Charlie, and he's like, your body was so hot. He's like, you were just radiating heat. I was like, that was the sugar. My body trying to process all that sugar, because we just don't eat like that,
You've been saying that for a while. I remember some time back you were saying you ate something and you get all red.
Fire.
Yeah.
My body's like inflamed, fire, something's wrong. Yeah. So I'm really trying to listen to my body. And that was one thing when Sean and I did the interview with Keith Waring, which I'm either going to do this book study, which we're going to vote about it. Me, Amy, and Paigey and Carly are going to vote about what to do next. And if they don't pick what I want, then I'm going to do what I want anyway, but on a different day. I've been skimming through this book, and the whole manifesting thing, which we're in that season right now between the two eclipses and all that. And Bruce Lipton has an amazing video out right now about manifesting. It's really short, but it's the same stuff that Dr. McDaniel talks about too, that how powerful our mind is, and how it does link back to your epigenetics and the truth, and you telling yourself. And I think in the 70s they call it like self-talk or whatever, and how powerful all that was. But now they're understanding like the science of it more, I think. And I hate to even use the word science. We really need a new word now. But
yeah, the reality of it.
Yeah, the chemistry of it. I don't know.
Right. Well, how is that different? How is actualizing and reinforcing with yourself? How is that any different than spiritual mantras or prayer itself? How is that any different? You're speaking, you're using your breath and speaking it into existence.
I'm going to get a little naughty, but this is a very tangible way everybody can kind of relate to this. But like, if you think about something that turns you on, you have a physical response.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about sex or talk about sex, or you get if your brain gets stimulated, your body has a physical response. So you cannot tell me
With thought, you're
just with
so
thought.
so what you're saying is just with a thought, you're
Yeah,
actually making physical change,
in
measurable
your body.
change in your body.
So
Hmm.
that's a fact. And don't test it right now, anybody, but later in your own privacy of your bedroom, or wherever you choose, um, without any other stimulation, just your thought, not looking at anything, whatever, your body will respond.
Right.
So why wouldn't your body respond in other ways with thought?
I love that analogy. That actually is probably the best one I've ever heard
It's
discussing that.
true, though.
It's so perfect. It really is.
No one can dispute that.
Or the same, even if it's not something naughty. What about something that brings joy to your heart?
Right.
What about something, a really good
I
memory?
just
So
really wanted to get their
your blood
attention.
pressure is going to lower. Wait, you got it. Your blood pressure is going to lower.
Right.
Your stress level is going to go down. You're going to feel at ease. Your heart rate is going to go down. And then conversely, think of something really scary. What happens if
Yes.
somebody, jumps
You have
out
that
at you,
adrenaline rush.
right, or you're really angry about something?
Yeah.
Then what? You've manifested all of these other changes into your body. So why can't we focus and internalize feelings of healing or love or manifesting whatever you want in life? And it looks like Robert's here. So
Robert is
Robert,
here. Yeah, we were just getting into a really interesting conversation. I don't know if you want to share your video. Okay, cool. He's got
Hey, how you doing?
there he is.
Hey,
Hey, Rob.
Robert. Thank you for joining us. We were just having a little woo-woo chat about how powerful the mind is, and what you can do to change things in your body. And actually, Dr. McDaniel and I had a video earlier today, and he was talking after the video. I was asking him about my EES machine that I'm researching and looking into, and scalar waves and all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And he was talking about that he's actually consulting with a college right now, because they are trying to figure out how a cell works, because a cell is a perfect computer, and they're trying to build like the future computers of the future. And they were like, well, if we can be as efficient as a human cell. And he was talking about the energy transfer of like how we raise and lower and bring our body temperature into homeostasis, and how our DNA is like, anyway, we went into a whole another hour of talking about all that. So we're going to do another talk on that. But I got really excited talking to him about that, knowing a little bit about what TPA had told me, some of the exciting stuff that you're doing with crypto and looking at different energy sources and things like that. So kind of give us a little background in
Sure.
your crypto journey and how you got into this, and your history and your background.
Yes. So
Take a minute and
thank you.
explain how you started. So this is my good friend Rob.
Sorry, I'm like,
we've worked together for
jumping
this year now here at the new job I'm working at, and he's a great guy. He's a friend. He's very like-minded. He's all about his freedoms. He's all about his financial responsibility and independence. And we were speaking not too long ago. That's kind of how he first got into cryptocurrencies. And we had just really struck up this really detailed conversation about our belief systems and how we got into these things. So I asked him to come on, and he was nice enough to join us for the show for a little bit here. So this is Rob Group. This is Rob. So Rob, tell us how you got started in crypto. Tell us where it came from and how you got into it.
Yeah, so thank you, Jason. Basically, I only have a couple minutes. I have my kids are home, but basically, I don't know how I came across Bitcoin, to be honest with you. I don't know. I was doing a lot of research probably around 2011, 2012, somewhere in that range. I had a long commute to the city, and I worked at a bank, and I read a lot of books. There was one book I read in particular. You may be of interest to you. It's called the Creature from Jekyll Island. You
Very familiar with
probably
it.
have heard
Very
it.
familiar.
So that book just really, and also I've read about J.P. Morgan and just the history of banking, and having a decentralized currency was just absolutely just amazing to me. And like I said, I don't know how I came across it. I do not remember, but I got into mining it. And I had bought a ant miner back in like 2013, something like that. And then I got another one, and then I got two more, and I just kept running them. And I want to tell you that the first thing I bought with Bitcoin was a Frozen video. My kids were young. The movie Frozen came out. That was the very first thing I bought with Bitcoin. And I said, hey, this is pretty cool. So I just kept doing it for a little while. But then, as you know, if you know anything about cryptocurrencies, you know that the difficulty raises. And you needed to get more hash power and all that. It just kept getting more and more. Then it got to the point where I stopped doing the SHA and got into the using the video cards. So I started building computers and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it just was so much power, so much energy required for it. So I said to myself, I got to figure out a way to supplement this power. I want to keep doing this. So I ended up getting into solar energy. And I have my background is in physics. I went to college. I have a undergraduate degree in physics. My father was a ham radio hobbyist in the Navy, and he taught me about electronics when I was a kid. So, one of the first things that I did when I was 10 years old, I got a television set for Christmas that I had to build. So, this was something that was up again. This is intriguing to me. I just, started looking into it. Like, what's the big deal? What's the problem with solar energy? Why don't we have it? And it turns out a lot of it's political. Basically, you have to figure out a way to connect to the grid and things of that nature. And the grid needs to make sure that they're safe and everything. And I kind of get some of that. It makes sense. But the Trump administration came around and the prices of solar panels plummeted. And I bought a pallet of them. And I just went ahead and installed them on my own personal residence. And then I tried to continue with the Bitcoin mining and the cryptocurrencies for a while. And it just got to the point where it just wasn't profitable anymore. I cashed out quite a bit, used some of it to buy gold. If you read Creature from Jekyll Island, gold and silver is really, that's one of the sayings that J.P. Morgan actually had was, gold gold is money. Everything else is credit. So we didn't really know where this was going. As you can imagine at that time, a lot of people were very skeptical of it. It's what is it, and how does it store value? My career was in valuation on Wall Street. I worked at a bank and I valued assets, and value, quite honestly, to a certain degree, is a matter of opinion, but also it's what's the cost of making something. And actually, where I think the value of Bitcoin and a lot of the other cryptocurrencies value is making it. And making it is really energy. And if you think about it, energy, I have a hypothesis about this, that energy is really currency. If you think about it, because when you pay somebody to do something, what are you doing? You're unlocking their will to do something. And then now the fact that it has turned into an electronic thing, it's quite ingenious. And then the fact that it's also decentralized, I think that is the best part of it. But, as I'm been working with Jason, we have I'm in a sales position now. And quite honestly, it's like, you eat what you kill kind of a thing. And I just love getting out there and selling what we're selling. But I also spent some time coming up with a means of attaching solar panels to cargo containers. Now, that's not necessarily a novel idea. I was actually going into work one day and I saw a sun beating down. In fact, look at this. I got a little prop here for you. Here's a little cargo container, right? So I saw sunlight beating down on the side of a cargo container. And I said to myself, why don't we put solar panels on the side? A lot of people want to put them on the top. Why don't you just put them on the side? Because sometimes you're driving in the right direction. You got sun beating down the side all the time. And you have all these new EV trucks coming out and everything. And it's quite pitiful, to be honest with you. It's great advancement, but they can't go that far. These new electric trucks that are coming out, they only go about 150 miles. And that's not even fully loaded.
Because Oklahoma needed a terminal.
Sorry. Yeah.
You jumped. See, you just had a physical reaction from a thought.
Yeah, energy.
Sorry, Rob.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Wow.
Anyway, I filed for a patent for that, and I started a company, and we're looking to, obviously we're trying to raise capital to build a demonstration vehicle. So we're looking to acquire a Freightliner truck. Freightliner came up with their own EV truck. The thing is $450,000. It was originally $250,000.
It takes like 8 hours to charge, right?
Yeah, and it only goes 150 miles. And for a tractor trailer truck, that is nothing. Tractor trailer trucks need to go like 600, 900 miles. So if you put solar panels on the cargo container and then you plugged it into the main charger of the EV truck, you can go anywhere you want. Talk about your infinite battery. It's right there it is. And I came up with also the means if you could do it for trucks, well, why can't we do it for trains and locomotives? And based on the way solar works in the residential world is you have a coal plant that creates energy, which is a grid signal. And you connect your solar panels to the grid, and your solar panels have to be stationary on your house. But if you were to put it on a train, your solar panels are mobile, and the locomotive is the primary power plant. So it's really kind of like a localized grid. It's almost its own solar farm. So we're in the precipice here of a diesel crisis coming up because of what's going on politically, and they're talking about a diesel shortage. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a disaster. What we've come up with is actually it's a solution to that problem. And that's what I was sharing with Jason. It's one thing led to another, and just everything, even in the industry that we're in right now with the construction and stuff like that, you could power any inductive motor with solar now. The solar panels are so powerful. They used to be like 100 watts. Now they're like 540 watts a panel, and it's like 39 cents a watt. So, just imagine building a solar farm just to mine Bitcoin or to mine cryptocurrencies, or just to even do, Ethereum or something like that, where, you actually have AI and everything like that. Because, you need enormous computing power for that. That energy needs to come from somewhere. And then, that's one alternative of it. I have aspirations to even build a farm where we could actually recycle the topsoil and crush our concrete and stuff like that, all powered with solar. Because again, even if you watch that show, you ever watch that show Gold Rush, that guy Parker Schnovel, those guys, all their equipment can be run with solar, all of it. There's really no reason why it can't be.
So years ago, you couldn't get the power from it. You couldn't convert it.
That's what I was
and
you
get
just needed
enough
so
out
much
of
it, and it cost so much to make it. It was like $7 a watt for like nothing.
Wow.
Now
that's changed. Yeah.
That's changed, and it's all has to do with silicone. They figured out ways, and particularly in Germany, they did this. They figured out ways to purify silicone even more. And what they do is they have to heat it like 3 or 4 times and add a gas to it to purify it. And the more pure your silicone is, the more efficiency you're going to have from a solar panel. So
does that stabilize it as well for the solar panel to last longer? Because it was my understanding they don't last very long.
That's an excellent question. I've never asked that question, but it's possible. Yeah, I think it may be too. If you think about it, also silicone is just really melted sand. It's sand. It's it's the same thing that goes into transistors and microchips. It's a PNP there's a P silicone and an N silicone, and depending on how you layer them is how you create a circuit, a microchip circuit. But for solar panels, it has to be really pure because one side gets excited, and that's what causes the point charge difference.
And I guess if you're using the energy, as long as you don't have to store it in a battery, because the batteries are bad for the environment, and the batteries are like the batteries are the problem with solar energy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's always a common question we get. It's like, how are you storing this? It doesn't matter. We're using it.
Yeah.
If you have it on a train, you're using it while you're hauling. you can, when you, and you know what the business model we came up with is that when you park the trucks or you park the trains, you plug it into the grid and you power the grid. So the grid becomes the storage because it's constantly going to be used.
So
You could also power electrolyzers. An electrolyzer is a device that separates hydrogen from oxygen. And if you are able to then store the hydrogen, you could use it in what's called a fuel cell to then do electric in reverse. So this is the water cycle.
yes.
And then
I killed
also,
that guy though.
yeah,
When
what
he came
the
up with
Trevor
the
Milton?
hydrogen car. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I mean that's the
knocked him
thing,
off.
and I'm surprised that they were able to even build a hydrogen truck. Nikola Motors, they built one, and it's like hydrogen is known as the Hindenburg. You know, it can blow up. So
Got a bad rap, right?
yeah, it has always had a bad rap. And then, but if so fine. So that's a bad rap. You don't want to do that. Fine. You know what else you could do with it? You could use the solar energy to heat up a resistor to then boil plastic. And you're going to say to me, why would you want to do that? Well, plastic, through a process called pyrolysis, which is really just distilling the plastic, you could turn it back. You could turn it into diesel fuel. So this is a situation where we can actually use solar power to also clean the oceans and also create more diesel fuel. And again, this is why it's just unbelievable. It's all a cycle, and the reason why we're in whatever predicaments we're in, it's 100% political. And quite honestly, I look at it as just different markets, and there's a lot we could do.
A solar-powered barge just traveling through the ocean, crawling through the ocean, gobbling up all the plastics
and boiling it for its own diesel to keep
going. Yeah, you could actually do that. Yeah, you could probably have a pyrolysis plant, a floating pyrolysis plant. I didn't think about that, but yeah, my idea actually is to give fishermen an incentive to bring plastic back when they're out. So they're out there fishing, say they catch a lot of plastic. They actually store it on their ship, bring it back to the fishery, put it onto a train, bring it to our pyrolysis plant. We create diesel, and then we sell the diesel back to the fishery, to the fishermen at a steep discount. So they can continue doing their thing, but they're also have an incentive to clean the ocean while they're out there.
That's a win-win-win.
Yeah. I love it. Like this is the future of America. I think this is where we get to when that system breaks, as the system breaks, as things stop working, people like you are building new things. You're finding solutions and you're saying like the old rules don't apply anymore.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't matter. And I mean, again, you know, Elon Musk, right? He says we need to go to Mars. I'm laughing at him. Why don't we go to Titan too? You know? I'm not as good as him. I'm not him, but still, it's like, I'm going to throw that out there. Why don't you work on that too? You know, it's just, you got to dream big.
Kind of why stop there. Yeah.
So smart. I love the idea of making the crypto farm. That doesn't, of all the things that I heard you just describe, building a crypto mining farm seems to be the easiest.
And in fact, we could do that. I mean, what is it? AntSpace. AntSpace came up with a container with liquid coolant in it, so you don't have to worry about the fans and all that stuff, to put miners in it and just power it. You just have to have a means of powering it. So like I said, what I would love to do is actually build more and more crypto mining farms across the country, or actually the world for that matter. I mean, there's so much land that is just not usable.
Yes.
Just like untentable areas, and that's really kind of like what some of our patent stuff is about with the intermodal cargo containers, is that we're looking to put solar panels on places that you wouldn't think to put them. And it's really pretty much anywhere the sun is. It used to be that when it was only 100 watts a panel, you had to have it pointed at the sun constantly all the time to produce anything. The panels now will produce electric in moonlight. So you can put them anywhere.
Wow. I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah. So there's all these options. These are the changes. These are the type of people who we're, looking for to help us get onto this next phase of humanity where we're not relying on big tech and big industry for all our needs. We can become self-sufficient in so many different number of ways, as you've just mentioned.
Absolutely.
Paying our own ways, keeping our own thing going. I love the sound of it. It's really amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
If somebody wanted to reach out to you to learn more
Yeah.
about what
So
you're doing.
I actually have a
Fun.
website. You guys can go to my website. You can send me an email through it. It's solarintermodal.com.
Okay. We'll link that down below the show afterwards.
All right, cool. Awesome.
Or she'll maybe do it right now. I see her typing.
Fine.
Solarintermodal.com. And they could reach you through there and discuss ideas.
Yeah, send me an email at admin at solarintermodal.com, and you can visit the website. You can see the products we've come up with, and we could use some help. We want to build some of these, and quite honestly, it's expensive to build them. It just happens to be like the railroad stuff is really expensive, but the tractor trailer stuff, that's not so expensive. We could actually do that. We could do that in like 2 months if we just had a little bit of capital to do it with.
Crypto mining farms, not too expensive.
Yeah, no, basically that's no different than a utility solar farm that's already been proven to work. So that actually would be land. If you have usable land, if you have land that's not usable, that's even better because you can get it cheap. Right. And meaning things like hilly areas, sides of mountains. I mean, you could anchor solar panels to a side of a mountain. There's no reason why you can't do that. I drove by. We were driving by. I'm in Philadelphia the other day. We saw solar panels on the side of the stadium. That's finally an ingenious use I saw of it.
Yeah.
So, but again, with the ant space, with Antminer, we could put them almost anywhere. We could build it almost anywhere. It's just a matter of area, and it's very easy to do. It's not that hard. The best part is all of the retail all the components out there are retail. You could buy retail microinverters. You could buy solar panels by the container load. And it's really, and if we do it for crypto mining and you don't grid connect it, you're really only talking about maybe getting use permits or something like that. And nobody's going to say no to a solar farm. Nobody.
Right.
Not now.
Especially self-contained.
And if it's self-contained, it's like, fine, okay, here's your, I would say you get rubber stamped because the only issues you run into is if you connect to the grid, they want a net meter. So they want to know what your use is. Where if you're going to crypto mine, obviously your use is going to be huge anyway. So it doesn't matter. You should be able to get grid connection permission as well. But regardless, self-contained would be even easier. And like I said, you're not going to get denied. You shouldn't get denied. And quite honestly, they should have no say in it anyway, right? If you want to put a solar farm on a piece of property you own, there shouldn't be anybody saying you can't do that.
Shouldn't be. Absolutely correct. There's a lot of territories, towns, municipalities, especially upstate areas where there are no restrictions to anything.
Yeah.
If you want to, you could do anything you want on your own property, completely unrestricted.
And
in the
the
areas
desert,
we're in, that's different. But yeah, you go out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, Nevada's got so much cheap land. Nevada, I mean, you used to test nuclear stuff out there, so people don't want to live out there. So that's where you put it. Right. You could have huge farms there. You could have huge mining capacity, and then even other countries have deserts too that aren't used. Same thing. It's really. I mean, what would be awesome is if we could build a massive global network of just mining, and the mining capacity all is from renewable, all from solar.
So that really, I mean, one of the biggest supposedly downfalls that crypto mining has, and you hear about it so much in the mainstream, is they're going to use more power mining cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin than entire countries will use for heating, the homeless children. These are the type of things that you'd hear. But if you can become self-reliant and self-sufficient with it, I mean, that's taking away one of the
arguments,
the top two arguments, really. The other one would be the cost.
Absolutely. And the other argument to that is that it's none of your damn business.
Touche.
Freedom.
I want to mine and leave me alone.
There you go. There you go. Very cool. What was the email address again, quick?
Solarintermodal.com.
Okay.
I'm trying to pull it up, but maybe I'm misspelling it. Solar.
SOLARINTERMODAL.
AL. I was all with the ELs, LE. Gotcha.
You should, when you pull it up, you should see a nice circle.
Yep, I got it.
that looks like a sun, and then nice blue sky.
Beautiful.
Just so everybody could see. Oh, there you go. Awesome.
There we
There
go.
you go. There, that's it. Yep.
So here, everybody can go to solarintermodal.com and we can follow you on Twitter, reach you on LinkedIn, check out your YouTube, and check out, oh, this is cool. So you've got some.
Yeah, you can play one if you want.
Trucks, and this is the truck.
Yeah, it should have
This
some sound.
SBU is specifically designed to extend the range of EV trucks. Each model configuration accommodates all intermodal cargo container sizes to be encapsulated with solar panels. The primary and secondary battery banks can be charged while hauling or parked in a lot. Solar Intermodal, connecting yesterday with today to power tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Love it. And this is, man, these are the changes that I think we need. This is the direction that we need to go from, with good people coming up with these ideas, with good people who haven't drank in the Kool-Aid, freedom-loving, patriotic Americans who are doing these things. Amen, man. Good luck.
Yeah,
Yes.
awesome.
For sure.
All right. Thank you. I got to go.
All
Okay.
right, man. Thanks for joining
you
us,
so
Rob.
much for joining us, Robert. All right, take
Have a
care.
good night.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Right. I told you, what a freaking
Cool
smart guy,
project.
huh?
Yeah, that's really cool.
So he's got a really good idea there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially with the crypto mining, with the trucks. I wasn't aware that, number one, solar panels, I wasn't the biggest solar proponent for quite some time, but then knowing now that the prices come down so much, that the power has quadrupled, 10x
Well,
or
and like
whatever
he was
they
saying,
are.
you can use it directly, so there's not the battery storage thing.
Right.
A lot of the problem, he's really thought through a lot of the solutions.
Definitely.
And then has alternative resources too. I mean, I just love it. I love the future. I think we're right there. We're in this new, aren't we supposed to be like the soaring 20s?
Yeah.
Uncle Cliff said in his last video that
Oh yeah, he put
third
that
year of
right.
every generation or cycle, or when these things happen, it's in the third year that it's named.
Okay.
So in 2023, the name of this thing we're in will come to fruition. So
Hopefully it won't be the sleepy 20s. I'm just saying.
I think it'll be the soaring.
I hope so. And
you know what I saw? Speaking of that, NASCAR had a flying experience for people at NASCAR. Speaking of soaring cars, hold on. I'm going to go find, I think Landon retweeted it. And what was it? Landon was this thing. This is like up floating. Your guests, our VIP guests, will be 150 feet in the air on the oasis in the sky.
wow. That's cool.
What
Yeah.
in the world?
Can you bring me a towel?
Oh, okay. As soon as my show is over.
I'll let you go.
All right.
I kept you a little long. I was abusing you. All right, guys. Thanks for
We're
joining
good.
us on Woo Woo Wednesday. We're going to be doing this every Wednesday night that we can. Public, I'm so glad you're back.
8 o'clock. Thank you.
On Twitter, TPA is back.
At TPA is back. Get some.
Get it. See you guys. Love you. Bye.
Thank you.